I am happy to join what you today invite will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation.
50 years ago, a great American, in whose symbolic shadow we stand today, seeing the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro self who had been seared in the flame of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity.
But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sacred by medicals of segregation and chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a long island of the poverty in the midst of the vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later, the Negro is still languished in the corner of American society and finds himself an exile in his own light. And so we've come here today to dramatize a sorrowful condition.
In a sense, we've come to our nation's capital to cash a check. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note, insofar as her citizens of color are concerned. Instead of honoring this sacred obligation, America has given the Negro people a bad check, a check which has come back marked insufficient funds.
But we refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. We refuse to believe that there are insufficient funds in the great vaults of opportunity of this nation. And so, we've come to cash this check. A check that will give us upon demand the riches of freedom and the security of justice.